Bob Dylan, a guy who just wanted to play electric guitar. That's what I would have called this film, but it's actually called A Complete Unknown. Yeah, it touches on the fact that Bob Dylan had a mysterious past and even his girlfriend Sylvie basically knew nothing about him. But that's about it, just a few minutes of screen time to justify the title. A Complete Unknown follows the classic music biopic formula. We have an extremely talented but simple guy named Bobby, just arriving in the big city with big dreams. He meets an important person who becomes his gatekeeper, then signs his first contract. Next step, meeting a girlfriend, then becoming successful, followed by a sequence of short success scenes. And so on. The movie is filled with songs. Every 3 to 5 minutes the story is interrupted by another one. Sometimes you get just one line of dialogue between them. Of course, every stage scene is drenched in blinding lights, just like in every single music biopic, and naturally, it's on the poster. Other scenes are wrapped in that warm, nostalgic yellow color grading. After all, we are romanticizing the 60s here. I think the film will be a gift for people who love the artists of that era, folk music, or even just music in general. But if, like me, you are not really into music, I'd say the first half of the film won't exactly be a roller coaster for you. Still, I wouldn't recommend leaving the theater just yet. The film is based on the book Dylan Goes Electric, and honestly, that part of the story is the most interesting. Throughout the film, Bob Dylan doesn't come off as a particularly likable person. He plays guitar whenever and wherever he wants without caring if someone is sleeping or just doesn't want to be bothered. There is one moment that really surprised me. He is invited to stay the night at Pete's house with his wife and kids, and the next morning he is already up playing guitar and singing. Personally, I'd be way too embarrassed to pull that off. He doesn't even know if he's allowed to stay another day, let alone start playing music. But I guess that just shows how hyper-focused he was on his art. Maybe it never even crossed his mind to think about, permission? Bob Dylan was born in Duluth, Minnesota. His real name was Robert Zimmerman, and his grandparents were Jewish immigrants from present-day Ukraine and Lithuania. But somehow, this info didn't help me understand why he has that bizarre accent. Sometimes it was so hard to even catch what he was saying, especially in that scene where he talks to Johnny Cash about going electric.
Bet you left town already.
Oh, we loaded out last night.
Both of them wearing shades, both mumbling in that weird way. I mean, they're two huge stars, no doubt, but it was kind of hilarious. So yeah, the origins of his accent and way of speaking are still a mystery to me. If you know the answer, let me know in the comments. Maybe it's a common Minnesota accent, I have no idea. Anyway, that's how Bob Dylan was back in the day. And then it all leads to one key moment, the Newport Folk Festival in 1965. Dylan walks on stage with his band, electric guitar in hand, at a folk festival. Not only did he go electric, but he did it in the most conservative place possible. Is that how much he didn't care about the fans' expectations? The whole festival goes crazy. Super conservative folk fans boo, throw stuff at the stage, and his managers are running around trying to cut the music. A fight breaks out. Meanwhile, Johnny Cash is having the time of his life. After all, he's the one who told Dylan to play the new songs right before the show. Now he's just standing there enjoying the chaos. I get that it's important to tell the full story of an artist's journey and that sticking to the classic music biopic formula is a safe move. But in this case, the story wasn't really told anyway. Personally, I think the film should have just focused on the transition from folk to electric, on how conservative folk fans reacted and how young, fearless artists changed music history, risking their own career in the process. One character that really stood out to me was Pete Seeger. He was a key figure in American folk music and activism, playing a huge role in popularizing this genre during the 60s. In the film, he is played by Edward Norton, and my god, how good he is. Sometimes when something is just said in a film, it can go unnoticed. But Edward Norton doesn't even need dialogue to be clear. His facial expressions say everything. That moment when he sees how much the crowd loves Dylan, realizing that folk music is still alive. Seriously, I was just happy because he was happy. Folk music was really his life. I know Timothée Chalamet did an amazing job as Bob Dylan. His expressions, his voice, everything was spot on. He sang all the songs, played the instruments, and even spent a lot of time with Dylan himself to prepare for the role. His Oscar nomination is well deserved, maybe he'll even win. But for me, Edward Norton's Pete Seeger is the performance I remember most. And honestly, the Best Supporting Actor category at this year's Oscars looks like it's going to be the most interesting one. First, Jeremy Strong in The Apprentice, and now Edward Norton here. Exceptional work. This year's Oscars probably will be the weakest I've ever seen. I don't even really root for any of the films so far, and A Complete Unknown is no exception. Some of the Best Picture nominees are so bad that this one actually looks decent in comparison. But is it Oscar worthy? I don't think so. For me, it's not even James Mangold's best film. And if Ford v Ferrari didn't win, this one shouldn't either. If I ever want to watch a music biopic, I'd rather rewatch Elvis by Baz Luhrmann or Bohemian Rhapsody with Rami Malek as Freddie Mercury. Those movies had a way more unique approach and they actually gave me goosebumps. That doesn't mean A Complete Unknown is bad. I'd rate it 7 electric guitars out of 10. It's just not the best one. But I still appreciate the filmmakers for putting so much effort into it. I learned a little more about American music history and it was interesting. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more.